everyone, it's Theresa here of Larkin Design, and so welcome to my fourth Photoshop tutorial. In the last video we had talked about working with templates in Photoshop, specifically Project Life templates or pocket page templates, and how to use 12 by 12 templates on a 12 to create 12 by 24 layouts. Typically for my Project Life layouts, every week I'm probably most likely going to have a 2-page spread. I tend to take a moderate amount of photos throughout the week, and I like to share most of those photos. You know, it's a fun place. Project Life is a fun place to put all the miscellaneous photos that we take that otherwise don't really have a context. And so for me, doing 2-page layouts works out really well. And so what I've started doing this year is bringing in 12 by 12 inch templates and creating my 12 by 24 inch layouts, and then printing them at home and then embellishing them on top. And so today I wanted to share with you the part of my process where I begin bringing in the photos and the journaling cards and the pattern papers into the template that I'm working with for that day. And so today, what you see on screen here today is my layout already completed for this week. This is week 4 in my 2017 Project Life album, and tomorrow I hope to share with you my process for embellishing this layout. But today I wanted you to become familiar with the process of bringing in these photos and the pattern papers and working with the journaling templates and different things like that that are going on in this layout to get it to this point. So I'm going to switch screens for you, and we're going to bring up the templates already in place in the canvas, and then we'll start working on our layout itself. Okay, so now you can see that I have both templates brought into my 12 by 24 canvas, and right now I have both of them sitting in the PSD file for one of the templates. And so what I'm going to do so that I don't mess up either of those templates is I'm going to just go in here and save this as a temporary file real quick. I'm just going to call it testing real quick here, just so I don't mess up my original. You can always re-download it if something happens, right? You can go back at the lily pad and re-download if you need to. But anyway, so what I have now is my 12 by 24 canvas, and I have 2 templates on the 12 by 24 canvas. Now, Theresa, how do you pick what templates you want to use? I don't have any scientific method for that, just what looks like fun. I will tell you that for this layout in particular, I still have, I chose, there were 4 templates in the Celine Studio Clean Lined Pocket template packet or kit that was available. There were 4, and I think I used the 4th one and the 3rd one. But here's what I knew about my photos from this week. I knew that I had quite a few events and miscellaneous photos that didn't really, like this photo here of this is the drive into our neighborhood, and there's just a little bit of blue sky in here. The weeks prior to this, we had a big snowfall and then a lot of rain. And so when that blue sky showed up, I was like, ooh, yay, blue sky, right? So random photo The boys just playing video games, random photo. The dog, random photo. And then we had Nick got his braces put on his bottom teeth. It's his third time getting braces put on. He's had them put on the top twice, and then now on the bottom too. So that, and then these two photos are from National Academic League. Nick did National Academic League last year, and then this year he and Addison both did it. So, and again, another random photo. I've been doing a little bit of trying some fruit-infused waters. So that's there, and another lunch is there. So a lot going on this week, and I knew that I needed space for several different photos. And I also, one of the things that I really liked about these two templates in particular were the opportunities to write your text on the photos. Now, I know that you can write text on your photos in your templates anytime you want to, right? Anytime you want to, you have a photo, and let's say that you have this photo right here and you want to write text on it, right? I'm going to make sure real quick I'm at the top, and I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to click on the text icon here, and I'm going to draw a box, and then I'm probably going to want it to be black for now. 24 is probably a little bit too big. Let's center it. Maybe 14 is not big enough. I don't know. And then the water is fine. So, anytime that you want to put text on a photo, you can. The challenge for me is, and I'm just going to delete that because I don't want it on there. The challenge for me, however, I will admit, is that if there's not a block for it in the template, then I'm probably not going to think to do it. I do like to use journaling cards that have journaling spaces, and I like to write on my photos, and I like to handwrite. I'm more of a handwritten journaling kind of gal. But there were some great opportunities for journaling on my photos, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to use Photoshop this year, is because I want to get more adept at doing that, and I want to create more of the habit of doing that. And you can see that I actually was very successful at this. I wrote on 5 photos here, and the journaling really does lead your eye across the page, and that's really awesome, and that's one of the things that I was hoping to accomplish in using these templates. So that's one thing. I also knew I wanted one big space for the boys at NAL. I have to say that I'm really proud of both of them for participating in NAL, and these two are stepbrothers, right? When we brought our families together, they were 9 and 8 maybe, or 8 and 7, and now they're 13 and 12, and so they are growing up together, and they're like best friends, and seeing them compete together and be in the school atmosphere together is really cool. Their teachers know that they're brothers, and their friends all know, and so they have each other, right? There's this camaraderie there, and so I wanted to highlight that here in this spot. And so let me just share with you real quick how I'm going to bring that photo in here. First off, all the elements for this side of the layout are first, and keep in mind which layer it is. that's your first one in that group, and then you'll know how to find which ones are on which side. So the delete elements layer is the first, and here's where the first layer is for the first side. This is the side I started with. So I'm going to just look for this big black block, and it's right here. So and if you click the move tool, then these rectangles will come up, and you'll know for sure that you got the right one. So large photo, that's our block that we're going to put our photo in. I'm going to press create new layer, and then I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to find the photo for that block, and I'm just going into my photos. I have these organized. Let's see, this is in January still, 22nd through the 28th, because this is week 4. And sure enough, I have that photo. I have it already. I've already cropped it and edited it in a Color Story app, and so I'm just going to open that, and then on my keyboard I'm going to hit Control A and Control C. This is on a PC, and then I'm going to go back into here. I'm going to make sure that I'm still on this new layer that I added on top of large photo, and I'm going to hit Control V, which is copy and paste. And so of course you can see that it's slightly a different size, right? And so with the move, I'm in the move tool, and I'm going to press the shift button, and that will help me bring it down. I don't need to bring it down too much, but pressing the shift key will help keep the aspect ratio. And then I need to slide it over a little bit. This is a horizontal photo that I'm switching to vertical. I kept this tight. I kept this photo cropped in tight. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, or hit the arrow button, and you'll see now that this is placed over top of that our black layer. And now we're going to create the clipping mask so that it will take that shape. So create the clipping mask, and then, sorry about that, that was my phone. I'm going to create the clipping mask, and then that placed that photo right there in that frame. Now you can slide this around a little bit. Like I was saying, I wanted to keep this tight. You could definitely put this photo into another, not that, I don't want to do that, into another frame and keep it horizontal if you want to. But like I said, this is really how I wanted it to look in this layout, and so that's how it ended up being. Now once you have the photo, I will tell you that I place all my photos and pattern papers and elements, I place all those first, and then I do my journaling later, just to focus on one task at a time. So now that I have that one, I also know that there was a good picture of them on the stage, and this is, I kind of like to have a close-up like this, right? They're wearing their t-shirts, they're dressed up in their khakis, and but I also like to have an action shot, or especially something like this. And again, this is a photo that I have edited in a Color Story app, and this is the stage. They had a home match that day, so I had gone to watch it, and I'm just again gonna copy and then paste that into that frame right there. So let me find that frame, and it is a little bit below it right here. The rectangle's moved, so I know that I have that layer, and then I'm going to create layer 3, right? Just click on the page icon and then Control V, and that brings in that photo. And again, it's a different size. It's slightly, the iPhone saves these a little bit differently than I do, and that's fine. So we hold down the shift key and then move it more into how we want it, and then go to our layer box and create the clipping mask, and then that makes it fit into that frame. So now we have the photos placed for NAL, right? And this, I really like just sharing part of the overall scene. Now NAL gets tricky because since it is a national competition, you're not allowed to take photos or videos while the competition is going on, and so this was actually taken before they began, just so that there's no question about that. I took this, they were just getting up on the stage and she had not began speaking yet. So anyway, and then after that I had to put my camera away. So I don't get opportunities to take photos of them while they're actually in competition. But this is one that's taken just right beforehand. And that's one thing when you're going about your daily life and you're photographing, is to definitely respect the rules of the photography rules of where you are, right? A lot of doctors' offices will ask you, please don't take photos in the doctor's offices. I try to respect that. Museums are something that you have to pay close attention to. Some museums want you to take pictures and they want you to post it on social media, and so you can usually check out on their website before you go, and they'll often have, if they specifically do not want you to take photos while you're there, they will have signs that say that. And in those instances, when no photography is allowed, do so before and after. You don't have to have photos of every single event in your life. And I certainly have not taken any pictures of the active competitions at the NAL. I've only taken shots like this one of Nick, or the two of them together afterwards. So this is my first time taking one just right before they began. So anyway, I don't recommend going around rules, but before or after you can. And sometimes you just say, it's okay to not have a picture because the rules didn't allow me to. It's okay to say that, right? It's okay to tell ourselves that. So let's see, moving around the page, let's work a little bit. I'm not going to place all of these on the layout because I think that will probably take too much time. And I think that you get the hang of it once you start working with templates. You sort of get the hang of how to place things, how to create the clipping masks. I do want to talk about working with the text templates, and I'm going to show you how I placed the pattern papers as well. So let me do that real quick, and then we'll work on the text. And then the next video, the next time I do a tutorial, it might not be next week, but I will show you from start to finish. This one I wanted to show you sort of how to bring in all the elements in the template when I wasn't really worrying about the design yet. That's something that I'm still getting comfortable with doing the microphone and working on the screen. So hopefully next time I'll be showing you from beginning to the very end. But today I just wanted you to know how to work with the template. So let's go into our canvas again and pull in this mint green pattern paper. And so I'm gonna let's see, we know that I put it here. I put it in the lower right hand corner. So let me find that block. It is right here, okay? And there is a title. Is it here? Is that yeah, I don't want that. So so I just turned that off. But then let's go back to that, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to open up this pattern paper, which means I have to go into my files, my downloaded files here, and I'm going to go to, this is the Hello Sampler Kit from Celine Studio, so I'm going to go in there and I'm going to pull up that pattern paper. And then I'm just going to do Control A and Control C and copy and paste. And since I'm on that layer, I just hit Control V and it brings it into your canvas. And I'm going to slide it over here. Now obviously you have some options here because it's going to make this the same size as the pattern paper, right? A 12 by 12. Now if you want to pretend that you're using a 6 by 6, you can hold the shift key and size it down to 6 by 6, and you notice that your scale will be smaller. I'm going to leave it at the scale that it is, and then I'm going to go to my layer and create the clipping mask, and there we go. Now we have that placed into our frame where we want it. So for this layout, for the purposes of this layout, I put it over here as well. So I am going to go ahead and drag that down onto the sheet, and it will copy that layer for me. Now I want it over here. I put it right here. So we want it to be underneath that block right there. And let's find that block. That block is, ta-da, right there. Okay, so we're going to just drag that down until that shows up. Okay, and it's still over here, so we're going to drag it over there. And then go to layer and create our clipping mask, and there it is on that side as well. So for your pattern papers, and of course you can manipulate it and center it and get it looking how you want it. I know this one is not really centered either, so you can always configure that so that it looks how you want it to. Gives you a greater degree of control over how your journaling cards look inside each frame. So now that we've just pretend that we've brought in all the photos and all the journaling cards or the filler cards, and we're ready to do our text. Now you notice that this photo did not have text on it, but I want to use the same formatting that is over here in this one, and so I'm just going to copy and paste that text. I'm going to do that again just by dragging that down onto the icon that looks like a page, and it copies it, and then you can drag it over here. Now you're going to say, Theresa, you put it in a vertical orientation, right, and not in a horizontal. Well, what copying does is it allows you to maintain the text style and format and size, and then to change the text, or to change this, whether it's horizontal or vertical, make sure you're in that layer and then click on the text and click in that box just once, and that brings up the text format. Now you can manipulate and adjust your block so that it's more in line with what you're trying to do. Okay, and so I'm going to just highlight that and write in my own text. So I'm going to say, these boys make me so proud. I love seeing compete, and I am happy for them that they are making good friends. Okay, so blah 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 blah. And then if you want to adjust it out a little bit more or make it shorter, you can do all that. So as long as your text box is around the text, then you can change that format to fit the space that you have. If you want to make the font a little bit bigger, you can, right? Obviously this way. But since the font is the same over here and over here, I want that font size to stay the same, and I want the font is Courier New. I want that to stay the same too. So that's why copying and pasting is a good idea. And for this one, it's the top layer, so it's going to show whether I leave it there or if I drag it over to here instead, right? Or if I drag it here, it's still going to show. So journaling, I tend to try to keep that on top so that it will show if I decide to change it and put it somewhere else. But for this layout, I left it here. I had written both boys wanted to participate in NAL this year, and I couldn't be more proud of them. Their team is awesome, and they have great friends, plus they are so super smart. Love it. Okay? Okay, so I was just looking to see if there were a couple of other things that I did. One is I changed the color of these mats here, and that's pretty simple and straightforward, but let me share with you again how that's done. So let's go here to this one, and that photo is here and the mat for it is here. Now to change the color of the mat, all we need to do is click on the color and make sure that white is your foreground color, and then your paint bucket tool is this little paint bucket, and click on that, and then click anywhere on that mat, and it will change it to white. Now I changed the background, or you can fill this layer 1 so that it was gray, and I just went in here and picked one that wasn't too dark, and then click on that, so that changes your whole background. Now since the layers here are still gray, then that gray is not going to show up well, so I'm going to just step that back and keep it white for now. But that way you can see how that's done. And then when you, let's see, where were we? When you bring in, is that it? When you bring in your photo, let's bring in my photo here. Go back to photos, 2017, 2017, January, and the 4th week. And let's see, what photo was that? That was, what photo? Now I can't remember. Ha! Okay, that was the one of the boys playing video games. Okay, so open, try that again. That's the equivalent of walking into the room and forgetting what you came there for. Okay, so the boys are playing, they're playing here. Now I have this already matted. Sometimes I do that in pick stitch. And so you could certainly bring that into that frame and leave it matted like that. I think since it already has a frame, I'm going to crop that out so So let's, I'm going to hold down the shift key and size it down a little bit. Click OK, and then create a clipping mask, and then there you go, you have your mat. Now if you don't want to use the mat, sometimes it formats weird, right? If you don't want the mat, you can just, well, you have to leave that on. If you don't want the mat, then turn that off and clip the photo to the mat. Let's see, create a clipping mask, and let's see if yep, then we hold down the shift key, and that will make the mat show up that you already have on your photo, if that's how you want that to be. Either way, okay, so but for now I'm just gonna, let's see, I'm gonna step backward and leave it like we had it, just because that's how I did it. Everybody thinks in sort of different ways, I guess. So however it works best for you. Where, okay, clipping mask, oops, not that one, I still, the photo needs to be visible. There we go, okay. So that's how to work with the mats here and recoloring those. And that is pretty much, I think that's pretty much all that there was to share with you from this layout, in terms of what my process was in Photoshop. So I'm going to wrap this up for today, and then my next video I will share with you how I embellish this layout after printing it. I do print at home on my Canon Pixma IX6820. I use 13 by 19 matte photo paper from Staples, and print it out and trim it down, and so we'll be ready to go with that. So I'll see you again soon for that. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope that you will like and comment and subscribe. And of course, if you have any questions or have anything that you want me to go over in Photoshop and using these templates, just let me know. I would love to hear from you. I'll see you again soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.